Asia, an enchanting continent of mystery, beauty, and for the first time home to a round of the world's toughest rally championship. The 1996 FIA World Rally Championship began in the frozen north of Europe in February, with a win for the Mitsubishi Lancer of Tommy Mäkinen. The international Swedish rally also saw an impressive performance from Carlos Sainz in his first rally for the Ford team since 1988. He finished second in a car which many felt to be outdated, the Escort. The reigning world champion Colin McRae, driving a Subaru, could only finish third. A different continent and a completely different climate for round 2 of the series, the Safari Rally in Kenya in April. No change in the winner though, Mäkinen made it 2 out of 2. A superb struggle for the lead until the final morning left Kenneth Eriksson in second place for Subaru and the Toyota of the local driver Ian Duncan in third. After such a terrific start to the year in Sweden, Ford had a disastrous Safari, Sainz retiring on the second day. In the lead up to round 3, there was a scare for Colin McRae. Like many of the drivers, McRae enjoys winter sports and injured his knee while skiing in Switzerland. A spot of physiotherapy soon had the Scotsman back on his skis again, and the Subaru team could breathe a sigh of relief. After 2 rounds of the championship, Tommy Mäkinen had a 17-point lead in the Drivers' Series from Kenneth Eriksson. McRae was third with 22 points, Sainz fourth with 15, and in 5th place was Ian Duncan on 12 points. And so to round 3, the first time the Rally Indonesia had counted for the World Championship. Who better to preview the event than a 3-times winner and driver of the course opening car?
What's the conditions like?
Well, I haven't heard, but of course it rained very heavily 2 days ago. There wasn't any sun yesterday, so I would say it'll be very wet, and especially under the rubber trees, because that shades those areas, and it'll be extremely slippery.
So it's gently to start with.
Well, I'm the sacrificial lamb, as they say.
Just like a lamb to the slaughter, the first driver away from the start ramp was Colin McRae, last year's winner and the pre-event favourite. With nearly 200 million inhabitants, Indonesia is the 4th most populated country in the world. The rally is held on one of the largest of its thousands of islands, Sumatra. 9 special stages made up leg 1, which took the cars from the start in Medan southwards to the first overnight halt in Parapat. Heavy rain in the weeks leading up to the rally made the going tough for all the crews. The world champion using all the road to negotiate this right-hander and quite a bit of the ditch on the way out. Just as on the last round of the championship, in Kenya, the slippery conditions would cause problems right throughout the rally. McRae, though, would be in second place at lunchtime on the first day. His teammate, Kenneth Eriksson, won here in 1994. Like McRae, Eriksson would be looking for a good result in Indonesia to gain valuable World Championship points. This rally is only Kenneth's 4th event for the Subaru team, and his second place in Kenya last month shows that he's come to terms with his new car. The third Impreza is driven by the Italian Piero Liati, who started the rally with a new co-driver, Fabrizia Pons. Unlike McRae and Eriksson, this was Carlos Sainz's first visit to Indonesia. He was another who was using the scenery as an aid to going around corners.
Frenando para derecha, buena corta, se abre, barro. Acaba derecha caliente de tierra, barro.
Gwyndaf Evans currently leads the British Championship, but this will be his only appearance on a World Championship event this year. The third Escort was in the hands of the local driver Dandi Rukmana. He was finding it a little difficult to match the pace of the other works drivers. 4 times world champion Juha Kankkunen reappeared in Indonesia after missing the Safari. Kankkunen's navigator Nicky Grist had obviously never seen such slippery stages.
And then 30. Long medium left. 70. This is the slippiest I've ever seen anything. Long bad left and keep right over 40 depressed and turn long 90 left.
Tommy Mäkinen travelled to Indonesia with a 17-point lead in the Drivers' World Championship. The Finn finished third here last year, so knows how difficult the rally can be.
Nyt 40 huomio, pitkä koo oikein alas liuka. Silta ja oikein nopee. Heti vasen nopee miinus.
Mäkinen's Mitsubishi teammate, Englishman Richard Burns, was the first of the leading drivers to retire, not even reaching the lunch halt on day one.
The end of the first stage with a slippy corner in the nose, and the car just didn't turn into the corner, and it rode up at a small bank on the outside and then just nudged the tree, which wouldn't have been too much of a problem, but it damaged the oil cooler, and with no service we tried to fix it as best we could, and we got through stage 2 and then stage 3, but halfway through stage 3 just the engine ran out of oil.
Even before the rally started, there was much debate among the drivers as to which tyres to use. There was no shortage of expert advice on hand, but even when you've been world champion 4 times, you can never be correct all the time. Juha Kankinen wonders whether narrower tyres will cut through the mud, while Ford prefer to hand-cut wider grooves in the rubber to allow the mud to be cleared more effectively. Most drivers even check to see which tyres their rivals are using, and a word of advice between friends isn't out of place in this branch of motorsport. With such a confusing variety of tread patterns, widths and compounds, it's only when Kankinen's Toyota leaves the service area that he and the team will know whether he's made the right choice for the afternoon's plantation stages. After the morning's 5 stages, Kankinen was in 6th place in the privately entered Toyota Australia Celica. Tyre choice, in fact, wasn't his strong point on day 1, and he was caught out by the muddy conditions. By contrast, McRae would set 5 fastest stage times during the first leg, and a battle was developing between his Subaru Impreza and the Mitsubishi Lancer of the rally leader Tommy Mäkinen. Less than 10 seconds separated the pair going into the afternoon. For McRae's teammate Piero Liati, the first stage of the afternoon would cause 1 or 2 problems. This was how he started the stage, and this was how the car looked 13.5 kilometres later. The third Subaru, driven by Kenneth Eriksson, was in for an even more dramatic time. The slippery conditions caused the Swede to slide off the road and into a bridge parapet, so ending his rally after only 6 stages.
50. Vinkel vänster. Till höger 4 plus. 20. Höger 1 plus.
The same bridge would cause a heart-stopping moment for the rally leaders, Tommy Mäkinen and his navigator Seppo Harjana, as our in-car camera shows.
Ja oikein eri. Oi.
Despite that scare, the Finns were still leading the rally, but only just. Damage caused by their encounter with the bridge can clearly be seen. Stage 7 saw the retirement of Ford's Dandy Rukmana. A troubled morning had seen him running way down the leaderboard, but he never really matched the pace of his more experienced colleagues, both of whom were in the top 15. Halfway through stage 7, electrical problems caused his escort to cut out on a long right-hand bend. Despite frantic efforts by the crew to trace the fault, their rally is over. So far, 1 Mitsubishi, 1 Subaru, and now 1 Ford have retired, and we still haven't finished the first day. The problems for the Ford team were only just beginning though. Gwyndav Evans and co-driver Howard Davis were about to find out the hard way there's one thing rally cars can't do without.
50, twist 4 right and left.
Oh, stay up. Engine stay up.
4 right and left. It's not showing any fuel on you. But 100.
It's not charging. Oh, that's top of it.
6 left. It's showing nothing on you. But there should be 5 litres when it's showing nothing on you.
Yeah.
Wind up, we're just coming to the stop line of SS9. We appear to have run out of fuel. Over.
Battery's flat.
11 keys.
Come on, we've got to push it.
John, what's the problem with Windurf?
He had two problems. He had an electrical problem, but the bottom line was he ran out of fuel. And he was able to get some fuel, because this is the first time Howard has been in the World Championship regulations, and he got some fuel from a roadside place, 4 litres, which got him going. And of course when he came here, he told us what he'd done, and that's outside the regulations. So we had no option, but that's it, he's out of the rally.
Team leader Carlos Sainz was also having his share of problems. He lost third and fourth gears and had to drive for most of the day with only 4 gear ratios until his mechanics could change the gearbox at the end of the leg.
Carlos, you're here, but it must have been so frustrating today.
It has been difficult, apart from, of course, the conditions, which they were difficult. Driving without 2 gears in those conditions were not the best. But I'm happy we are here, and at least we can continue the rally and get some experience for next year.
Did you not lose 5th gear as well in the end?
5th gear was jumping out, but I managed holding up to that with one hand, holding the 5th gear, but it was okay.
For the most experienced driver in the World Championship, his first day of Indonesian rallying would end in 3rd place.
We have been talking with the boys, and it's very difficult to compare to any other event, but let's say it's between Greece and Kenya in a way. Similar type of surfaces and something like that, but very special compared to the other rallies.
The battle at the head of the field had finally been won by Colin McRae, who reached the overnight halt in Parapat with a 5-second lead over Tommi Mäkinen, to the delight of the thousands of spectators.
Yeah, I mean, we've had no real problem at all, but it's just we've been very cautious on the slippy stuff and gone obviously as quick as we can on whenever the conditions good.
What's the plan for tomorrow?
Well, hopefully if it stays a bit drier then it'll be 100% from the start to finish tomorrow.
As the sun set on day 1, Colin McRae led by just 4 seconds from Tommi Mäkinen, with Juha Kankkunen 3rd, Sainz 4th and Liati 5th. Group N, the so-called showroom class, was led by RAF Indiato in a Mitsubishi Lancer in 7th place. The second day began at 6 a.m. and would comprise 7 special stages, the crews returning to Parapat after a little over 12 hours on the road. After 4 of the leading cars were forced to retire on the opening day, it only took until the second test of leg 2 for yet another mechanical failure. This time it was the Mitsubishi of second-placed Tommi Mäkinen which fell by the wayside. Tommi notices that the engine temperature is dangerously high and the Rally Indonesia is over for the 2 Finns.
We don't have very good radio contact with him, but he stopped 13 kilometres into the stage with the car overheating because of loss of water. So we think the radiator must have moved or something. It must be the result of clipping the bridge yesterday, because the body shell was fairly badly damaged. But he's lost the water and he stopped in the stage, and that's him out.
With Richard Burns already sidelined, all the mechanics could do was pack up and start to prepare for the long journey home. That meant Colin McRae could afford to relax a little. There was now nearly 4 minutes between McRae and his teammate Piero Liati, who'd moved up into second place. As usual though, McRae showed no intention of letting up. He set the fastest time on the very next stage and consolidated his position out in front. Indonesia is one of the most physically demanding events in the World Championship. As part of their medical team, Ford used the services of a physiotherapist.
I think because the stages today are more bumpy, definitely Carlos and Lewis have the same neck problem. started last night and it's increased by the first, second stage. I think they've gone over a bump and definitely compression to one side because both have a pain on the left upper cervical. So what we've done is do a lot of mobilisations, a lot of traction, trying to relieve the muscle spasm.
Is this a common problem?
It is more in the co-driver because they're looking down at their notes. He can't brace himself to where the bumps are coming. So he's got his head down, look at the notes, and they hit a bump and he goes straight into flexion. Carlos can fix himself with the steering wheel and prepare himself for the corners, but Lewis, he always has a neck problem. But I think as they both got exactly the same problem, they must have hit a big hole and they've twisted their neck the same way.
All of the teams have doctors whose job it is to look after the entire crew, but who naturally concentrate their professional attentions on the drivers and navigators.
This event in Indonesia is definitely one of the toughest. The heat here and the humidity here make it a real workout for the drivers. So we have a battle against keeping them suitably watered, fed in small quantity, against the sweat loss that they have, which is fantastic. In this event, perhaps 20 litres a day is what they'll need, which if you think about it, somewhere around 3 gallons. 4 gallons is a hell of a lot to drink.
The battle was now on for second place. The position was currently held by Liati, although he only held a slender 3-second advantage. Liati knew that with Eriksson out, he had to finish in as good a position as he could, and both Kankkunen and Sainz were breathing down his neck. With torrential rain turning the already tricky stages into near swamp-like conditions, once again tyre choice became critical. On stage 14, Sainz got the decision absolutely correct, taking nearly a minute off Liati and grabbing second.
Acaba bajando dos veces, frenando para izquierda, buena corta en tercera, Sassar, frenando para derecha, buena, se cierra, para derecha, buena, se cierra.
The last stage was really unbelievable. It was really wet and I mean, I have never seen so slippery road in my life. It was really incredible. It's similar like driving with slicks on the ice in Monte Carlo or something like that.
On the very next stage, it was Kankkunen's turn to choose correctly. 46 seconds faster than Sainz, he even bettered McRae's time by 24 seconds, and it was the Finn's turn to take second place. The gap between first and second was now down to 3.5 minutes. With some of the longest stages still to come, would the Toyota be able to catch the Subaru?
We left here at 12:30. We started the next stage at 2 o'clock. By the time we got there, they had a torrential downpour. The conditions were incredible. I mean, it was like riding on a bar of soap in the bath. I mean, it was so slippery, you'd never believe.
McRae obviously had other ideas. By the end of the second leg, he'd extended his lead once again. The 1996 Rally Indonesia was seemingly his for the taking.
David, another commanding position you're in.
Well, for the moment, but let's not forget there are 11 stages to go tomorrow. Colin's driven superbly in really testing conditions, and it was going to be a real ding-dong battle had Tommy stayed in the rally, but life looks a little easier now.
What's the mental attitude like? You've got a strong lead. Is it difficult to sort of maintain concentration?
It wouldn't be bad if we could have consistent conditions and you can get into a rhythm and you go on with it, but when it keeps changing, it's so difficult in the rain here. You have to go so slowly, and you're always thinking someone else is coming quicker behind, but they're not. It's difficult to find a good safe pace.
Colin McRae went to sleep in Parapat with a lead of over 3.5 minutes from Juha Kankkunen. Sainz was third, Liati had dropped to fourth, and the Group N leader was now 7th placed Michael Yu from Hong Kong in a Subaru. World rallying is a serious business. We don't often get the chance to take a light-hearted look at the stages, but in Indonesia we asked Ross Dunkerton to cast a driver's eye over the conditions.
Here we go. Just drop. Oh. Right, 5, wipe the mud off. Left 5, and I'll tell you what, pretty narrow. It is like driving on butter. And we have actually only got very hard wide tyres. Oh, and have a look at the crowds. Reckon this is fantastic. This is that's a big corner there for the boys. Right, the tightest. That's the place to stand. Right, 3, and oh, this is a good one too. Just have a look at these road conditions. Unbelievable. I'm out very slow in second gear trying to keep it straight. And oh, here we go. And we just give them a big stall. What do you reckon of that?
Early morning over Lake Toba and the start of the last and longest leg. 13 hours of competition over 11 stages took the crews back to Medan and the finishing ramp. But who would be the first to drive onto it? McRae obviously felt that the win was his for the taking. He set off safe in the knowledge that he could back off the pace to preserve the car and still cruise home to an easy victory. He couldn't have been more wrong. An intercom failure meant that he couldn't hear the vital pace note instructions from his navigator Derek Ringer, who resorts to using hand signals. This, for example, means a second gear right-hand corner, but it doesn't always work, as the pair were about to find out. A slight kink in the road had caught out the world champion, and the car was totally destroyed in the accident, although happily both McRae and Ringer were unhurt. As the rally continued with a new leader, and without him, McRae was faced with a long, lonely walk to face the reception committee waiting for him at the service area. He wasn't the only driver to misjudge a corner, though. The Ford Escort of Dolly Indranst had been in 6th place before this happened, although things might have been a lot worse had it not been for an English rally driver who'd been spectating on that corner. With the fire extinguisher from the next car, Michael Hughes' Subaru, the fire was put out before any real damage was caused. All that excitement meant that Juha Kankkunen now led the rally from Carlos Sainz, but that lead was to be short-lived. Just 4 stages later, Kankkunen would damage the front end of the Toyota, losing a minute and allowing the Spaniard past. At the next service halt, Juha has a tale to tell.
Well, there was of course I had to try because the situation was very tight. And there was a jump, I went over it, 2 days ago and it was okay. But now somehow the back kicked quite a lot and we landed, into the ruts and it just broke, the intercooler radiator.
Now it's 120% from now on.
I don't know what can I do, but that was a little bit too much to give to the boys, but okay, try to the end and see what is there.
Okay, thanks so much.
Thanks.
The star performance on the final day came from the man who can no longer be regarded as only a tarmac rally specialist, Piero Liati. He was fastest on all but one of the final 11 stages and was now in 2nd place behind Sainz. With both the other Subarus out, it was now up to the Italian to uphold team honours, and he was doing so in style. Team 2 only had one driver left, and he was now leading the rally. Sainz's problems, though, were only just beginning. A controversial decision by a rally official had plunged the entire team into confusion on the final leg. Sainz was understandably left angry and frustrated by the news.
As serious as that, we are not as good.
Lewis Moyer, his co-driver, and the team manager, John Taylor, were left trying to sort out the situation with the rally officials.
We have received a letter from the clerk of the course. She's trying to say that we've infringed Article 4.2, 4.3 and 4.4 and that we have been excluded from the rally from immediate effect. We are not accepting this. We categorically deny it. We know the World Rally Championship regulations inside out and we did not. They're accusing us of putting fuel in the car and we did definitely not put fuel in the car.
After protracted negotiations, Sainz was allowed to leave the service area at Tebing-Tinggi and continue the rally. He didn't allow the problems to affect his concentration over the final few stages, though, and he was able to take a superb victory, the first for the Ford team since the Thousand Lakes Rally in Finland in 1994. His understandable elation was shared by the entire team.
Yes, I'm really happy, especially after the first day where we had so many problems and especially also with these conditions of the rally, which I never found something like that in all the rallies I have done.
Yeah, we are very happy, the team is very pleased, but still we have a lot of work to do because today they were catching up quite easy, so in Greece if we want to be more competitive we have to still work harder.
So more wins this year?
Hopefully yes, even the title.
The winning margin then, Sainz 23 seconds clear of Liati, with the Toyota Celicas of Kankkunen, Fujimoto and Reza Pribadi 3rd, 4th and 5th. Group N was won by Michael Yu's Subaru, which finished in a creditable 6th position overall. That result means that Sainz moves up to within 5 points of Mäkinen, who still leads the Drivers' World Championship. 3rd place is shared by Subaru teammates Ericsson and Liati, and joint 5th are McRae and Kankkunen with 22 points. With Mäkinen and Richard Burns failing to finish, Subaru have now moved ahead of Mitsubishi in the Manufacturers Series, although his win means that Sainz has helped Ford to close the gap on the 2 Japanese teams. From the World Championship's newest round, the focus switches next to one of the classic European events, the Acropolis Rally in Greece at the beginning of June. Another hot and dusty rally will again test the fitness of both crew and car. The tough reputation of the Acropolis is well deserved. Mitsubishi and now Ford have proved themselves capable of victory in 1996. The pressure is now on Subaru to win in Greece.